My name's Travis, and this is my 2006 Saab 9.3 Aero Sport Combi with a manual transmission. Now, I bought this car to flip it. It came to me in a neglected and broken mechanical state, and even though I fixed that problem, I still haven't sold it. And although this is by far the cheapest car in my garage, it might be the one that I'll never sell. The thing to me of why this car and the other cars are here is that they are the only things like themselves. For example, the 997.2. Many people would consider that the peak of modern Porsche 911s. Good chassis, still analog feeling, key on the left, full Porsche 911 experience. The Maserati Quattroporte Sport GTS. It is an exotic four-door sedan with a Ferrari-derived V8 engine, and there is nothing else like it. If you're an enthusiast, I'm sure you have lamented the fact that in the United States, we just don't have very many options for wagons. And not only that, we don't have very many options for fun, sporty driving, performance-oriented wagons. And that's the lens that I look at this car with. If it were to go, I don't know that there's anything else in the market that I can easily find to replace this car with. I have to level with you all about how this car entered into my life. I sold this Saab acquisition as a learning opportunity and pseudo business investment because I wanted to flip this car, and that's what I told everybody. It had a small issue, or what I thought would maybe be a small issue to fix. I could easily fix it on the cheap and move it on. It was a rare car, and I thought that I could probably, put it on Bring a Trailer or something like that. But as I began documenting my fix for this car, a YouTube channel started, and this car kind of stopped being inventory for me, and it became a recurring character on this channel. I also found that I really like this car. I think this car is a lot of fun to drive. I think that it is quirky and fun and just different. I've also found it has a ton of uses, and I couldn't imagine selling it on now. So the guilt that I experience on I wouldn't call it a regular basis, but sometimes is, a family member or a friend will be like, hey, how's that Saab project going? You think you're going to be selling it soon? And it's not wrong of them to ask, but the trajectory of what this car is and what it represents to me has just changed. And maybe that's just my addiction shining through as to why I can't sell this car. Okay, let's talk about the math behind the flip of this car. I bought this car for $1,800. By the time I was $2,400 into it, I had the misfire it came with fixed. I'd fixed the problem with the boost control valve of the turbo and the evap system. The car ran great, no check engine lights. I started taking on a little bit more pieces to make it a little bit nicer, make it my own, and at $4,200, that's what I have into the car. Now, on Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids, clean examples with the same mileage as this car, which is 120,000 miles, go for the low teens. So this should be and is an absolute layup of a flip. Cars with 200,000 miles still go for around $8,000. Now, if I were to sell this car, I would lose out, I think, on the opportunity to have another one like it. Saab brought 160,000 9.3s of this generation into the United States, and only 458 of them have roughly this configuration of the biggest engine with a manual transmission and in a wagon shape. And that in itself is one of the reasons why this car is so appealing for me to keep. The fact that it's a wagon. I can do a whole lot of practical things with this car. I can haul wood. I can, haul around a bunch of stuff. I can go to Costco. Now, it has filled the role in my garage of my winter family hauler car. And from a practicality standpoint, that's something that the Porsche can't do. The Maserati could theoretically carry people around in the winter, but it's got the smallest trunk that you can imagine. And to be honest, it's just a little bit, in my opinion, too delicate to have out in the cold and wet and snowy conditions that we tend to get here in Western Washington. But it's not only a practical standpoint of me wanting this car. I didn't anticipate the personal attachment that I was gonna have with this car and how it really has grown on me. I didn't care about Saabs before I got this car. It wasn't like I had ever had one before or even really thought much of them. But once this car kind of came into my life, I see why there's such a cult status for Saab ownership in the United States and even in the world. People really love these cars, and they are fantastic and very underrated for what they offer. And I know that the flip seems like it's the right thing to do, but this car, I think I'm okay being wrong. So what's the verdict? If I had to sell one car in this garage tomorrow, the obvious answer is that the cheapest one with a good profit margin on the flip would be the one that I would let go. But selling this car, it's not going to be the easiest one to replace if I think I've made a mistake. The most expensive car in my garage is actually that car. And the idea of having multiple cars is never about the cost. It's about what they bring to the table as far as an experience goes. If I wanted the Porsche 911 experience, I could find another 997 tomorrow if I wanted to. But a esoteric Saab manual wagon with a big engine, even though I'm someone that cares, there's just not that many of them to find in the first place. So the Saab might not be the car that would go if I had to sell something tomorrow. So you're probably wondering, what does all this mean and where am I going with this car? I'm not gonna sell it, at least not anytime soon. And I've actually decided that this is going to be a mostly permanent piece in my garage. It's kind of my cold weather, spicy Swedish meatball wagon. And what that means to me is I'm gonna try and optimize everything I can on this car for experience and fun driving characteristics rather than all out speed and noise. So the first mod that I had done was I threw some Klingon wheels from an older Saab 9.5 Aero on this and some wheel spacers. I did that quite a while back. But the biggest thing that I'm kind of like building towards is going to be a Vermont tuning stage 0 tune, which is just gonna change it from 87 to 92 grade gas, and I should get around 70 horsepower out of that. Maybe not quite that much, but pretty close. And then after that, it's just gonna be, fun kind of things before I really worry about every single little bit on the exterior of this car. It's gonna be my sleeper winter beater.